Man, we got cruisers taking Carnival Cruise Line to court. We also have another cruise line going bankrupt. We got a cruise port exploding. And there's a question out there. When it comes to the turkeys on cruise ships on Thanksgiving, who gets to pull the wishbone? That's not the question, but the question is just as wild. All that and more on today's episode of The Cruise Show.
All aboard! Your ship is leaving. Talking about everything going on in cruising. It's the Lido Loca time. It's the cruise show. It's the cruise show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. Welcome to The Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face on a Wednesday the 5th of November, 2025. And well, dang, Carnival Cruise Line is going to be going to court. They got to go see Judge Wapner at the People's Court, going to court because they're being sued over a bed bug infestation. Bed bug infestation on the Carnival horizon. This lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of Florida, October the 28th. The suit is alleging that on a sailing back in February of 2025, that 2 days into the sailing, that these two cruise passengers began to be bitten by bed bugs. They started to experience clusters of bites on their legs and arms. And by the next day, those bites had moved up to their neck and shoulders, head, shoulders, knees and toes, head. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, that's serious. You don't want to be bit by bed bugs. They were worried about the bed bugs after they got these bites. They started doing some investigation in their cabin. They found some live insects, fecal stains, eggs on their bedding. This is all in this is the claim in the lawsuit. They said they notified the crew and they were basically not given any assistance at all. These two passengers were saying they also saw other cabins being fumigated and they got no relief. And so now they're trying to get some relief through the court system. There's bed bugs on cruise ships sometimes. We'll have to see whether or not it can be proven that there were bed bugs on this cruise ship. But it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder to check for bed bugs. You know, typically, you look around the mattress line. You're looking for they shed their skin a little bit. They're these things are disgusting, but they also leave a little poop trail, or it looks like a poop trail. I don't know if it's poop for real. A good rule of thumb is when you get into your cabin to check around. We'll have to follow this, but for now, Carnival's going to have to either address this before it goes to court, or they'll have to be in court. Where the bailiff Rusty will make sure they stay in line and not get the dander up of Judge Wapner. Judge Wapner. I'm Doug Llewellyn. What's the cliche? All heroes don't wear capes. I'm changing. I'm going to say all heroes don't wear glasses, but some do. Some do. I'm looking at you, Clark Kent. How did they not know that Superman is Clark Kent? Look, let's see if it works for me. I'm a different person now. I've hidden my secret identity thanks to the sponsor of today's episode, Pair Eyewear. Pair Eyewear, an online glasses reseller that sells you premium glasses and a fully customizable system of glasses. The way it works is you go to their website. If you have a prescription, you put in your prescription, but you could buy glasses without a prescription just for the cosmetic appeal of it. You pick out a base frame. I'm wearing the Drew. And then you pick out some top frames to completely customize your look. Love this website. It's so much more convenient than going to a brick and mortar eyeglasses store, and a lot more affordable too. So I just got some new top frames in from Pair Eyewear. Check this one out. It's a Star Wars theme called Galactic Battle. And for hockey season, I picked up the Nashville Predators top frames. Look, not only do they have glasses for the inside, but they also have glasses for the outside. Check this out. This is the silver reflective sun tops, and then I can even customize it even further. There's a holiday sale going on over at Pair Eyewear now with savings up to 30%. But that's not all. Excitingly, there is a special offer for you, the Loca fam. Check out Pair Eyewear's biggest sale of the year at the link in the description, or hit the QR code that is on the screen. Use my code LALIDOLOCAGIFT15 for a free gift with purchase. Thank you, Pair Eyewear, for sponsoring today's episode. All right, we do have an update on the sad story of the 80-year-old woman who passed away while on a cruise excursion in Australia. this thing's been twisting and turning. Of course, the initial story is that a 80-year-old woman went on a cruise excursion to Lizard Island to hike part of the Great Barrier Reef. According to her daughter, she took ill. She took ill and was told to return to the cruise ship unescorted. She never got back to the cruise ship. The cruise ship left without her. When they finally figured out she was missing, the cruise ship returned. A search was initiated. They found her passed away over there on Lizard Island. And now the cruise has been canceled because of that, according to the CEO, because of the sadness of the passing of this passenger and because of mechanical issues. And now it's been 10 days since the event, and investigators are now boarding the Coral Adventurer to investigate. There was some trouble for the Coral Adventurer to get to a place where they could have the investigators on, where they could port. They are going through the process of getting all of their, it was a 60-day cruise that got canceled early on, and they're trying to repatriate people back to wherever they came from. Most information we've gotten from the daughter speaking out, saying that she feels like there was a lack of care given for her mother that resulted in this tragic incident. But it seems like this story will be continuing on, and we will continue to look at it. I do have to tell you about a cruise bankruptcy, brand new Carnival menu, free food from Carnival. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Free food from Carnival, and an interesting turkey question. But first, let's talk about a couple of green initiatives that are starting to pay off. We have Le Havre in France. They now are ready for shore power. This is a big deal because this allows cruise ships not to run their engines in the cruise port. They'll be able to plug into the power grid. And we also have MSC for the very first time using shore power in New York City. This was at the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal, and the MSC Meraviglia was able to shut her engines off and plug into the power grid. These shore power initiatives, and again, all of this green stuff is hotly debated around the way, but for the most part, the cruise industry has embraced it, and shore power is a path to show the industry to be more environmentally conscious. We see it a lot with the cruise ports in Alaska, Seattle, places around the world. So it is good. Miami's got shore power. So you're starting to see more and more of these shore power initiatives, and certainly Meraviglia hooking up to the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal. I think it's just a big three-prong outlet. Maybe not. I have a friend that actually works on this in Alaska, Daryl. What's up, D-Man? I'm sure he's shaking his head by me calling it just a three-prong outlet. Cruising's getting greener. Cruising's getting greener. Okay, let's talk bankruptcy. This is not any major cruise line that I don't even think I've ever heard of, but we do know the cruise ship. Back in 2022, a French entrepreneur set up a new cruise company called Explorus. They kicked off their cruise company by buying one cruise ship. This is very reminiscent of what we've seen Margaritaville at Sea do, except the bankruptcy part. They bought the Silver Sea Cruises Silver Explorer. And initially, when they bought this, they were going to be doing charters for Silver Sea, but now they're out of money. They're out of money. They did lose a charter contract. I don't know if it was the charter contract with Silver Sea. And so they've not been able to present a viable plan to keep the Explorus cruise line open. So on November the 7th, this company will cease to exist. The courts will hold the cruise ship for liquidation. All of the crew members will lose their job, and then about 40 shoreside staff members also lose their job. That's business, right? Unfortunately, if as an entrepreneur you jump out there, you try to do something, especially in the hot market like cruising. But if the business doesn't materialize, it doesn't materialize, and this is the way the worm turns. Sad. We hate to see a cruise ship go away, and especially all of those jobs. All right, now let's talk about, I'm almost hesitant to talk about this story because sometimes the language that's used in investor calls is it doesn't sound pro-consumer. These investor calls happen all the time for all of these publicly traded cruise lines where they have to go and they have to present their quarterly earnings and they have to make a case for why the company's viable or why it's struggling, that kind of thing. So Norwegian Cruise Line just came out and they announced over $400 million of income, profit in Q3 of 2025. It was down a little bit, but they're projecting strong growth going into next year with good bookings into 2026 and 2027. But they're talking about their revenue mix, the way that the revenue is coming into the company. And part of it is the big push for the cruise industry right now is to have strong revenue on board. And so I'm not sure if that was the metric that they were addressing, but they're saying that one of the reasons that their revenue mix was a little off was because of families. And it's so wild to me to hear a family cruise line saying, one of the reasons we're having trouble is because we have too many families on board. Now, to clarify that, I do think it is about onboard spend. So, parents come on with 2 kids, they're discounting the 3rd and 4th berth in a cruise ship. And traditionally, children, unless you give them unlimited arcade funds, traditionally children will spend less on a cruise ship than adults. So I think that's really what the story is trying to be painted by the leadership over at Norwegian when talking to investors. But almost immediately after they say that, they have to come out and say, but we want families. We're going to figure this problem out. The mix is off because of families, but we've got to figure out a new way to make the mix right. Whatever information that Norwegian's put out, it has caused a little softening in their stock price. Some of the investors out there that set these stock targets have decreased Norwegian's stock target. And then after the announcement, I think they lost about 18% on their stock yesterday. To me, as somebody who worked a lot of years in corporate America and had to help prep for some of these kind of meetings, those kind of things, it is very interesting to hear the messaging that goes out to consumers, to customers, and to the street. It's stressful. It is stressful, and you got to report to the street every 90 days. That's the most crazy thing. It's beautiful to be publicly traded, to be able to put your hands on tons of capital through investors, but that accountability to the street every 90 days is rough. It is rough. Ooh, we got a lot going on today. Let me talk about this. There has been a warning issued to Port Everglades passengers, people cruising out of Fort Lauderdale for Friday, the 7th of November. That's just 2 days from now. They're going to have 7 cruise ships in port. We've got 3 brand new cruise ships. I mistakenly the other day kept calling the Celebrity XL the Celebrity Apex, because that was the last Celebrity ship I went on. I don't know why. It was just stuck in my mind. So the Celebrity XL is going to be at Port Everglades. The Star Princess is going to be at Port Everglades. And the Disney Destiny. Those are 3 cruise ships. Plus, there's going to be 4 other cruise ships on the 7th of November. And so they're saying, hey, plan accordingly. Make sure you give yourself enough time at the cruise port. Fortunately for me, as soon as I wrap up this show today, I'm going to Port Everglades. That's right. I will be on the brand new Star Princess. It's a little better scenario for me. We get on the ship tomorrow, the 6th, for the naming ceremony, and it's going to stay docked all night tomorrow, but we're going to have the naming ceremony and a bunch of festivities, and then we're actually going to leave, I think, like at 1 o'clock on 1:30, something like that, on the 7th. So I should be okay. I should beat the traffic. I still have to do the 5-hour drive. Sometimes I wonder why I don't fly, but actually, I know why I'm not flying right now. I don't want to be in an airport right now. 5-hour drive ahead of me, but I'm excited. I can probably listen to the next book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl book series. Anybody out there into that? It is so good. Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you're a nerd, a D&D person, a fantasy sci-fi person, check it out. Check it out. But yeah, so that's going on in Fort Lauderdale. That's going on in Fort Lauderdale. Hello, everybody. It's 7 a.m. Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades. Now, let's talk about 2 things. Can we talk turkey? Let's talk turkey, and then I'm going to tell you about the brand spanking new breakfast option. Let's talk breakfast. What's more interesting? I don't want you to leave. The turkey request is wild. We'll talk breakfast first. Carnival has introduced a new included breakfast option on the Carnival Panorama as a tester, and it's a bagel station. Now, this is very smart. I love when cruise lines utilize spaces that are unused, and you can't get pizza early in the morning anymore on Carnival. But so you got the pizza station open, Pizzeria del Capitano on the port aft of the Carnival Panorama. Well, now they've turned it into a bagel station, and I think this is brilliant because a lot of times you see congestion in the buffet, and so if you can spread the crowds out, it's going to make a better experience for everybody. And look at this picture. These bagels look pretty good. Of course, you can get bagels with cream cheese, which I like that. Bacon and scallion. What's wedding cake? Wedding cake's got to be sweet. Then you can get some pretty hearty bagels. You got, bagels with lox. You got a powerhouse protein bagel. And holy crap, it looks like you can get bacon every day on a bagel for the Breakfast Club bagel. Is that sausage too? Holy crap, that's sausage, egg, bacon, cream cheese. If you've never had a sausage patty on a bagel with cream cheese, I used to do that when I worked at Burger King. So good. But I hope this goes to all of the cruise ships. I did watch John Hild's 3-minute video today, and he said later in November there would be a bagel announcement. I'm not seeing a charge for any of this. So hopefully this is just a way to move the crowd around and offer food that they're already offering, because I like it. I like it. I'll go get them bagel sandwiches. Are you a fan of the bagels? What's your favorite bagel place? Leave a comment below. And now let's go on to this comment. This is a question that I never would have thought anyone to ask, and I never thought of myself. It's a simple one. It says, John Hild question, Thanksgiving and the turkey. If we order this on Carnival Mardi Gras, do they carve the meat at your table? If not, why? Can anyone let me know how this works? Can you request a leg? I mean, okay. I've never thought that if I went to a sit-down restaurant and had Thanksgiving dinner, be it Cracker Barrel or anywhere else that would have, a Thanksgiving meal, I never thought once they would bring the turkey to my table and carve it up. I just assume they're going to slice some turkey, throw it on the plate with some dressing, and that's what I'm going to get. The why not seems pretty obvious. What are you going to do in a dining room of 500 people? Are you going to roll turkeys around and carve them? John points out that they do carve a turkey on the buffet. So if you want to go have that turkey carved experience, you can do that in the buffet. He said you could also try to request a leg, but that almost seems unreasonable, because if everybody requested a leg, they're not going to have that many turkey legs. So is this a reasonable request, or is this made up? Is this made up? What do you think? Leave a comment below. Look, that's everything that's going on in cruising. Thanks again to Pair Eyewear for sponsoring today's episode. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the show today. Subscribe for more. And now there's really nothing left to do but dance. Get up. Get up.